So this upstream is basically involves operation, which is exploration and production. So after getting these oil, we need to like store and we need to transport. So the operations which are related or which are related to the transportation and storage, that comes into the midstream. Then we have a third stream where we perform refining of these oil and gas resources, like basically the crude oil and natural gas. We got various meaningful fuels after the refining process. So we have LPG, CNG, HSD is basically high speed diesel, and NG is natural gas vehicle. So there are various kind of fuels we will get after the refining process, and the whole refining and marketing is comes under the downstream. So we will talk about in later, because we will discuss our solutions for different streams. So we have to be very clear about what are these streams and what their operation and what are the possible like products we are talking about. When we talk about the upstream, so that means we are talking about the crude oil and natural gas only. Similarly, in midstream, we talk about crude oil and natural gas. However, in downstream, we have various other useful forms and byproduct of obtained by these crude oil and natural gas. So there is very important classification which is like involved in this industry, which is called zone. So we have to classify the environment where these industries are installed or anything which is related to this. So we need to classify these zones based on the risk level. So the thing is, like with this industry, we have a risk which is called explosion. So we know that there are three categories or three parameters which basically driven this explosion to occur. So the first thing is we need to have a flammable substance. So that is the necessity requirement to something to explode. This is the first requirement. So flammable substance could be a crude oil, could be a petrol, diesel, gas, anything. Second thing is, even if you have a flammable substance, you need something to ignite. If you have these two things, then if you want to have an explosion, then oxygen must be needed. However, in our operations, we always have these kind of availability of the flammable substances. So we give most priority to this element, which is a flammable liquid or flammable gas or whatever. So the thing is, when we talk about the risk, so we talk about the zone 0 means the highest risk of explosion. The second thing is zone 1, which is after the zone 0. And then zone 2 is considered as a safe region. So similarly, if we see an example of a petrol pump, so we have like a feeder tank where we have a tank. So whole tank and inside the region is considered as a zone 0 because we have a flammable substance inside it. Similarly, we have another tank, which is a storage tank of a petrol pump. The whole tank is considered as a 0 zone. Similarly, the areas where we operate and we use these kind of flammable substance, and there are various operations involved where zone 1 and zone 2 are basically interacting. So we need to classify these zones separately, like which is zone 1, and zone 2 is slightly far away from zone 1. So we have a kind of criteria for like explaining these zones. So for zone 0, we have like explosive atmosphere continuously for a long period or frequently occur. So these are the continuously and frequently. So that's how we can define these as a zone 0. Similarly, in zone 1, we have the atmosphere likely to have the occasion, like we have explosive atmosphere which is likely to occur, which is like basically the operation while distributing a petrol. So maybe we can have a spill of petrol. So the presence of those explosive substance in that environment, if they are likely to happen, that means we can assign that zone as a zone 1. And then there is another zone which is called zone 2, which is basically a far from say certain radius. and it depends on which stream you are talking about. So there are various standard agencies who basically decides a criteria between zone 1 and zone 2. So various certification standards we are talking about. So there is ATEX/IECXE. These are the international standards who basically decides, like if you are working in this industry, then you have to take the approval or the certification from these industries, and they will classify for you like which is the zone 0. Although zone 0 there is no debate on zone 0, but zone 1 and zone 2 there is a debate on it, like how much radius and how much space you have to keep aside. So similarly, these are the standard agencies. They look for the site and they decide like which zone is basically in which region. So similarly, suppose if you want to design anything, any electronics, any solution for this industry, so you need to have a certification from these industries. And suppose this certification comes with some sort of code. So this is one code. For example, I'm trying to say here that what are the things very important for them? What are the things they are important, and they are basically certifying those things. The first thing is CE stand for the certified. So suppose if you have anything which is installed in this industry as an object, so that a label, this label should be printed over it, like this is certified in this scenario. So these 4 digits, the numeric numbers, basically tells us about the which lab of this international association is basically involved in getting the certification. Similarly, if we saw a symbol like this, which is like EX in it, and we have an enclosure of it, so that means your device is basically explosible safe enclosure. If we didn't have an enclosure like this, that means it's not safe for the explosible. Second thing, like product group and product category. So we are talking about product category. So in product category, we have one which is likely to say here is this product is belong to be used for in the region of zone 1 for the gas substances, like in the gas environment. Suppose if you have oil, then you need to put certain other code for oil. Suppose you have a dust environment, then you need to put a dust environment. So there are various code to be used in place of G. Similarly, EX is basically explosible. We have this as an encode, and there is another term which is IA. This is basically for an instrument to certified as IA, which is intrinsically safe. Suppose you are developing a multimeter for like to be used in zone 0 or sorry zone 1. So that multimeter to have a intrinsically safe, that means you have to pass the requirement of this standard. The battery you are using and the connections you have made and the whole electronics should be in the vacuum. So it should be completely sealed. So that's why this intrinsically safe is meaning to us. Similarly, we have explosion group. This is the second category in B region. So there are various terms. You can follow this link to get the more detail about like how these codes and how a device which is certified, and they give like the overall code for your device, and that can be used only for certain region and certain conditions. Similarly, very important aspect is T4. So they also certified your device, which temperature limit could be used, like whether if you what are the temperature limits for your device to be operated in. So the thing is, like we are talking about micro sensing. We have talked about the oil and gas industry at all. So now we need to learn about how microwave sensing is like basically used in this industry. So suppose consider an example here where we have a pipeline. So this pipeline is basically flowing a fluid, which could be a oil, which could be a gas, which could be a mixture of oil and gas. So somehow these are the probes. These are the probes which are responsible for like transmitting or radiating electromagnetic energy in microwave spectrum, and these are responsible for transmitting and reception of the RF and microwave signal. So suppose if this media is flowing inside this pipeline, so we need to excite this pipeline with the RF and microwave signal. So because of the interaction between the flowing fluid, flowing media, and the microwave signal, we have some sort of scattering, and that scattering basically being detected and measured by these source, this setup, like the detector we have used here. So these probes. So suppose during this interaction, some part of the energy is basically get reflected, and some part of the energy is basically transmitted through the second probe. So we in microwave energy, we talk about the scattering parameter. So we usually measure reflection coefficient and transmission coefficient. So these parameters and the measuring quantity could be like a magnitude, phase, or sometimes the resonance frequency if these probes are the resonant probes. So the thing is, like, the principle is very basic here, but the thing is, the most important thing and most complex thing here is identifying and establishing a relationship between the physical flowing medium and their properties with the measured quantities, which is the magnitude, phase, or the resonance frequency of reflection and transmission coefficient. So this is the most important and most challenging task in this industry. So it varies with the application to application. So we'll discuss some scenarios where we'll discuss about this interaction and the modeling of this